Okay guys, so here I am. I've removed the old derailleur and I have this brand new one. What I'm going to do is I'll just thread it through the chain. This has got the SRAM chain on it. I'm going to just thread it through there and then set that back on and then hook it on there. So now I want to call your attention to something here. And I'll get a brighter light on it. Hopefully you can see better. So right here they have a little guide. It has chain rings listed. So there you can see the tooth. So that means this tooth has to line up with this. So you see I've got a little bit too high yet. So I just need to bring it down just a little bit. Alright, that looks really good right there. The other thing you want to check is look down on it. Is it lined up even? In other words, parallel to the bike. It's about even with the front chain rings. So I think I've got it exactly where I want it. Okay, the teeth lined up well. Then it just says to go ahead and tighten this up to, I believe it's 60 inch-pounds. And if you have a torque wrench, I highly recommend using it. If you don't, 60 inch-pounds, I will show you right here with my handy torque wrench. It's not very much. There it is. Alright, so the derailleur's on. So we'll move on to the second, and that is to put it in the lowest gear. Obviously means I need to reconnect the chain, so stand by for that. Okay, so the next step is for me to adjust it on the low setting. So the spring pressure is going to hold it to the lowest position. So that's where it's at. It's not connected with the cable yet. And so what I've done is on the back I've put it in the largest gear, and on the front chainring I've put it in the smallest chainring. That's the lowest gear. And then it says to turn the crank and listen, and I'm hearing some rubbing. So basically the plate back here, the back plate of the derailleur, needs to be adjusted so that it's not rubbing on the chain, and right now it's rubbing. So I go up here on top to the low screw and I turn it counterclockwise to adjust it back out of the way. And sometimes you got to get the view on top here, and you can just see, okay, how close is it? And you want to get it, the manual says 0 to 0.5 millimeter. I don't know why they say 0. 0 would actually be touching, which you do not want. Alright, that's really close. So I've got the setting. So the low setting is set. Now it says to attach the cable. So I've already loosened the cable screw up, and I've just got to take this and put it behind the washer, and it's just a pressure fitting. So I pull it tight, and then I just put my 5 millimeter on it and tighten it up. Now I believe the torque spec on that is also around 60 inch-pounds. So since I have my torque wrench, let me just go ahead and do that. Alright, there's the click. It's tight. Now I may do something with that. We'll see. It's got kind of a funny bend to it, but what we'll see is how it'll look after I do the other adjustments, and then I'll worry about this cable. You can bend this cable back or forward or do whatever you want. just so it's out of the way, so when you're pedaling it's not rubbing against your leg. You don't want that. Alright, let's move on. Okay, so now what I've done is I've shifted it into the highest gear, the biggest chainring, and on the back I'm in the smallest cog on the cassette. So it's the high stop that I'm adjusting now. So I put it in there and it's close, but if we turn it, maybe you can hear that it is dragging a little bit. So I need to adjust the high adjustment screw, and so that's up here. And so the chain is rubbing here, so I need to create some more distance. So I need to loosen it. And it's always hard because it's in a set position, so what I do is I drop it into the low gear and then come back up on the high. And the other thing I need to do is check from on high and see how close is it. Okay, is it touching here, back in here? Again, the manual says 0 to half a millimeter, and I can see that it's very, very close, nearly touching, but not quite. The next step will be, of course, taking it out and riding it. I want to make sure it'll drop into the other gears. And of course, in this one, it's rubbing because it's cross-chained. I want to make sure it'll shift up. And all the way to the top. Alright, so that's pretty good. It's a good starting point for my adjustment. Then I'll get it out and ride it. You can make some adjustments with the self-adjuster on the chain, how it shifts between the middle gear. Sometimes it won't shift quite the way you want it, so that's your barrel adjuster on the cable, which is up here on the handlebar on this bike. But you'll just want to adjust the cable tension just so it shifts well into each of the gears. And don't get discouraged. Triples are notoriously difficult to adjust, but I think that's a good starting point for this one. And what we'll do is we'll take it out, see how it shifts. I will take a screwdriver with me. Doesn't take much, just a nice little screwdriver like this. Make a few adjustments here, and like I said, a few adjustments on the barrel for the cable tension, and we should be on our way. Thanks for watching, guys.